All right, we're going to do a lesson on factoring quadratics. This is an important lesson, so you definitely got to focus in class, but if you're not in class, the video, I hope will help you out. Okay, so the first question that we always ask ourselves is there GCF? Is there a greatest common factor? And if there is, you want to pull that out front. And here there is a greatest common factor, and that's going to be 2. So this becomes 2 times x squared plus 6x plus 8. Okay, so that's nothing new. Now what we're going to do is new. So this 2 is just going to chill out in the front. So what we're going to do is we're going to factor this trinomial into 2 binomials. All right? So we're kind of going backwards to what we were doing before. Before we were multiplying 2 binomials and then combining like terms and simplifying to this. Now we're going the other direction. So these two first terms here and here have to multiply to give me this. Well, that's pretty easy, right? That's going to be x and x. X times x is x squared. Now these two last terms have to multiply to give me this. Now you don't have to jot this down, but here in the beginning you have a couple of options, right? It could be 8 and 1, or it could be 4 and 2. All right? Now I'm going to put down something that's wrong here at first. I'm going to put down 8 and 1. Now, so these first 2 terms have to multiply to give me this. These last 2 terms have to multiply to give me that. But then the combination of this inner product and this outer product has to give me this thing in the middle. So you see, this would be 8x and this would be 1x. And if you add those, you get 9x. If you subtract them, you get 7x. Neither one of those makes 6. So a combination of adding or subtracting of these inner and outer products has to give you this middle term. So 8 and 1 doesn't work. Okay? Now watch this. 4 and 2. You see here I got 4x, here I got 2x, and together that can make 6x. So the last thing I fill in is the signs. If everything's positive here, everything's going to be positive here. Okay? Now this is just a little check. Part of it I do mentally, part of it I show. Once you get good, you don't have to show this check at all, but it's a good idea to do it in the beginning. So we know that x times x is x squared. We know that 4 times 2 is 8. I always do that in my head. Here, this inner product is 4x. This outer product is 2x. And we know that 4x and 2x together is 6x. So this is correct. All right. It's a lot to take in here. It's going to take you a little bit of time to get good at this. Now in this next one, again, the first question is always, is there a GCF? Here there is none. So we go straight, if I can get my pen to work, to the double parentheses. And we know that this has to be x times x. Now here, again, we have a couple of options. This could be 3 and 2, or it could be 6 and 1. Now this can be tricky. This one is actually a very tricky one. It could be 6 and 1, could be 3 and 2. Okay. I'm going to put something in that's wrong to begin with. Watch this. So this gives me 6x, and this gives me x. Now, if you subtract them, you do get 5. But it actually doesn't work. Because you see, what this sign is telling me is that the signs of these two things have to be the same, because this 6 times this 1 has to be a positive. So these signs either have to both be negative or both be positive. They have to be the same. If the signs are the same, we're going to be adding this inner product and this outer product together. So this would be 6x and 1x with the same signs. It's going to make 7x. So that doesn't work. And watch this. It's going to be 3 and 2. Remember how I said the signs have to be the same? Because 3 and 2 have to multiply to give me a positive? Watch this. If I make them both negative, now I'm going to do my check. Okay, I get negative 3x with this inner term. I don't even know why. Negative 3x, and then this outer term is negative 2x, see? And together that's negative 5x, so this is right. Negative 3 times negative 2 is positive 6, and then the middle term works out as well. So maybe you can try one yourself. Again, there's no GCF here, so we go straight to this. Factor pairs of 4 could be 2 and 2, or it could be 4 and 1. Now, I've gotten pretty good at this over the years, of course. I know that to make this 3 come out in the middle, I'm going to have to use 4 and 1. Okay, now this negative tells me that these signs have to be different because these two numbers, 4 and 1, have to multiply to give me a negative 4. So because this is positive, I'm going to make the larger one, in this case, positive, and that one negative. Now watch how I do my check. I know that 4 times negative 1 is negative 4, good. This gives me 4x. This gives me negative x. 4x and negative x makes 3x. All set. Okay. Now, remember what I said in the very first one. You always check to see if there's a GCF. And there's a GCF here, 3x. And that's good when you can pull out the GCF first, because it does make life a little bit easier for ourselves. So what's left inside then is x squared minus 2x minus 8. Okay. So now, this 3x just kind of chills here in the front. You don't need to worry about that anymore. It's still part of the answer, but you leave it in the front. Now we don't even look at the 3x anymore. We just look at this this thing inside. So that's going to be x and x. Remember, we got a couple of options. We worked with an 8 before. It could be 4 and 2. Could be 8 and 1. 8 and 1 is not going to make 2. It's going to be 4 and 2. This sign tells me that these signs have to be different because they have to multiply to give me a negative. This sign says make the bigger product, in this case the 4x negative. Now watch when I do my check. Part of it I just do mentally. Negative 4 times 2 is negative 8. Now this inner thing is negative 4x. This outer thing is 2x. Together that's negative 2x. So I am good. All right, moving on. This one's, well, this one's similar to what we just did, right? You know, again, GCF is 2. So we have x squared plus 3x minus 4. The 2 just chills at the front. This is x, this is x. We're going to use 4 and 1 or 2 and 2 to make 3. It's got to be 4 and 1. Signs are different. And now I'm going to do my check. You see this is negative 4x, and this is positive x. Okay, and that makes, whoops, that's not right, is it? See, what's wrong with that? That gives me negative 3x, but I need positive 3x. So I have my signs backwards, all right? So what I mean by that is this one has to be positive, this one has to be negative. Now, when I do my check, you see this is 4x, this is negative x, and together that makes positive 3x. It's always good to do a check. That is now correct. Okay, now we're going to get into some that are even harder. All right. For sure. See, watch this one here. There is no GCF for example 6. So that means you can't take anything out. So that means we're going straight to our double parentheses. And what makes this hard is we have options for this front term. This could be like 3 and 2 or 6 and 1. Okay. This is what we call a guess and check method. Now, I need you to listen. I'm going to put in something that's incorrect here, but I'm going to talk through it and I'm show you why it's incorrect. I'm going to try 6x and x. Okay. Now, So you have 6 and 1 or 3 and 2 in the front. And then the nice thing is in the back is this number is prime. So we only have one option of 5 and 1. But it matters where you stick it. So watch this. If I put 5 here and 1 there, just kind of do a little check in your head. I'm trying to make this middle term of 7 come out. This is 5. This is 6. If you add and subtract those, you get if you add, you get 11. If you subtract, you get 1. So that doesn't work. It doesn't make 7. So try the 5 and the 1 in a different spot. If I try 5, that makes it even worse, right? This is 30, and that's 1, and that's going to make 31 or 29. So it doesn't work. What that means is 6x and x isn't right. Okay, it has to be 3x and 2x. Okay. Now, again, where I put that 5 and the 1 makes a difference. You see, if I put the 5 here and the 1 there, this 5, that's going to make 15 and 2. It's not going to be 7. The 5 has to go here. And the 2, sorry, that should be a 1. And watch this. Notice how I do the signs last. This is 10x. This is 3x. That does subtract to give me 7. This tells me signs are different. This tells me make the bigger product positive. So this is the bigger product, this 10x. Make that positive, make that negative. Now I'll do my check because it's easy to make mistakes. Here, that's 10x. Here, that's negative 3x. Together, that's positive 7x. 5 times negative 1 is negative 5. I am factored. Okay. We're going to skip down to number 8. We'll do 7 last. Here, there's a GCF. GCF is good because if you take out a GCF, then it makes life a little bit easier inside. So I can take out a 2. And now because of that, this first number is a 3, and that's good because it's prime. You only have one option. It's got to be 3x and x, right? Now you got a couple options here. It could be 4 and 1 or 2 or 2 and 2. I can tell you right now, 4 and 1 is not going to work. If I stick the 4 here and the 1 there, I'm going to get 12 and 1. Doesn't make 4. 4 here and 1 there would be 4 and 3. It's got to be 2 and 2. Signs are different. Bigger product, negative. So this is the bigger product. You see how that makes 6x? So let's do a check. 2x, and then this makes negative 6x. Together, that's negative 4x. So this is right. Okay. I skipped number 7 for a reason. It's hard. Okay. We're not really ready for it, but making this video, I'll put it out there and we'll practice plenty in class. Again, GCF, thank goodness there's a GCF, but it only reduces this first term to just a 12. And what makes this problem hard, maybe some of you are already recognizing what makes it hard, is there are a lot of options for this 12. You could do 3 and 4, you could do 2 and 6, you could do 12 and 1. And that's why this method is called guess and check, and this is why we have erasers in the back of our pencils, because we don't really know what we have to use. Okay. I'm just going to show you one that's not right. So now here I can do 6 and 1 or 3 and 2. If I put a 6 here, that would be 72 and 1. That's not going to make 17. Try the 6 here. That's going to make 6x. The 1 would be there. That would make 12x. That's not going to make 17 either. Let's try the 3 and the 2. If I put the 3 there, that makes 36. And 2 is not 17. Flip-flop it. Put the 3 here and the 2 here. That's 24. And 3, it doesn't work. Now, what that means is that 12x and x don't work. So yeah, this can be a little bit tedious. So now you got to try 6 and 2 or 3 and 4. Let's try 3 and 4. Okay. Again, I got to try the back end with these two things. So if I do 6 and 1, 24 and 3 doesn't work. 6 here, 18, that doesn't work. Let's try 3 and 2. You know what? I can make that work. Watch this. 3 here, 2 here. This gives me 8x. This gives me 9x. 8 and 9 makes 17 in the middle. This is telling me that the signs are the same. This is telling me that they're both negative. Let's do a little check here. This gives me negative 9x. This gives me negative 8x. And together that is negative 17. That one's hard. It's just because you have so many options. You got to be patient with some of this stuff. There's no doubt. Definitely got to be in class and focusing in class because this is some tougher stuff. There's some special cases as well, but we'll get to that later. But the only way you're going to get good at this is to practice. And you really got to be honest with yourself, checking all the answers and asking questions if you don't understand something. But main thing is being persistent.